President Trump announced that he's going to reopen Alcatraz. An excellent idea, a place to send the hardened criminals of immigrant gangs, illegal immigrant gangs, and others, including federal judges who violate their oath of office, including politicians like Ilham Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and others who have taken actions against the United States. It's something that should be done. It's obviously a valuable piece of real estate, but it also sends a message that we're going to cut back on violent crime and violations, which are treasonous towards the United States. I think Biden ought to go there as well for what he did to this country, as well as Anthony Fauci. Something that definitely needs to be considered. You know, it just gets worse and worse. We are now up to about 240 cases that have been brought against President Trump and his administration. We have these leftist, Democrat, mostly Democrat, several George W. Bush appointees, I might add, as well, and even one Reagan appointee who has curtailed the use of legitimate executive power. This is a violation of their oath of office. To violate that oath of office, which they took under oath, amounts to perjury, amounts to a false statement that they made under oath, and they need to be held accountable as well. Now, as I said before, there are some good federal judges in this country, but frankly, because of the way they're chosen, they're few and far between. They are politicians in robes. They're part of the establishment. Even Chief Justice John Roberts, a closet liberal, I might add, I won't go as far as to say leftist, I'll call him a liberal, is someone who needs to be held accountable for violating his oath of office. He plays politics. Let's go back a little bit in time. You remember the unauthorized release of the Dobbs decision that did away with Roe v. Wade? No one's ever found out who was responsible. That's been covered up. That was a violation of Supreme Court rules and regulations. It also resulted in a potential assassination of Justice Brett Kavanaugh and others on the Supreme Court who voted to overturn Roe v. Wade. We have people out in this country today, like Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, like Cory Booker, like many others, AOC, like Rashida Tlaib and Ilham Omar, who told a reporter just last week, excuse the French, to go fuck themselves. This is a congressman who was asked a legitimate question. Ilham Omar is illegal. She's an illegal immigrant. She lied. She married her brother to get her green card and then committed alleged tax fraud on top of that. I filed several years ago a deportation petition against Ilham Omar. She should be deported from the United States and sent back to her native country, her real country, the only one that she respects, apparently, Somalia. We have many things to do in this country, and I want you to go to freedomwatchusa.org. President Trump cannot do it alone. We know he cannot do it alone. He's overwhelmed. Pam Bondi of the Justice Department can't even trust her own lawyers at the Justice Department. And I hope to meet with her shortly. I hope to say, we're here to help you. She's attempting to do a good job, and she has done a good job, but she's had to fire a number of Justice Department lawyers because they've actually argued against her and President Trump. It's unbelievable. Reportedly, 100 justice lawyers from the Civil Rights Division quit. Well, yeah, good riddance, goodbye. This tells you something about the ideological makeup and loyalty of the lawyers at the Justice Department. I'm reading an article today from this clown, Paul Rosenwig, an individual in Washington, D.C., a so-called elite lawyer, who says, oh, the integrity of the Justice Department has been destroyed by Trump. No, there was no integrity of our Justice Department. Get my book, War Is It? Why I Came to Fight the Establishment. It's why I left the Justice Department many years ago and formed Judicial Watch later. It's always been politicized. It never has represented the American people the way it should have. Sometimes it succeeded. For instance, on the AT&T case, I was on the trial team that broke up AT&T. I believed in the Justice Department. And excuse the French again, at that point, I thought given an offer to work at the Justice Department was like being accepted at Harvard. Of course, now I wouldn't want to wish that on anyone. In fact, you wouldn't want to be a member of a club that would have you as a member, in the words of Groucho Marx and Woody Allen. But I want you to go to freedomwatchusa.org. We need to support President Trump in what he does, whether it's reopening Alcatraz, whatever he needs to put into it to get it done, whether it's making sure that this country is made great again, whether it's having a Justice Department that actually is responsive to the needs of we the people, whether it's protecting cabinet members and himself from the threat of assassination, and God forbid, I pray that will not happen, but the left will try that again, mark my words, not just with him, but with Vice President Vance and members of the cabinet. It's coming. We have these leaders, so-called Hakeem Jeffries, minority leader, and others, Chuck Schumer, minority leader in the Senate, whipping up hatred and violence against Trump and his administration. And not just against them, but against you and your loved ones, against me and my loved ones. We live in a very dangerous world. When you visit Washington, D.C. today, for instance, you'll see that most stores downtown that used to be retail are closed because of the crime. It's unbelievable. The city's in a state of complete disarray. It's crumbling. It's falling apart. Well, I say let it fall apart totally, and let's move the capital out of Washington, D.C. Let's put it in the South or put it in the West. Put it somewhere else in this country, because Washington, D.C. is a symbol of the corruption of our country. So when you talk about Alcatraz, we're not just talking about Tren de Aragua and MS-13 and gangs. We should be putting corrupt politicians there as well, along with corrupt federal judges who violate their oath of office. They need to be taught a lesson. They need to be a message sent that this country is sacrosanct. It was formed by the divine providence of the Father and the Son. And it's time that we respect that. And it's time that we, the American people, rise up. So I want you to go to freedomwatchusa.org. Please join our Justice League. Contribute to our cause with tax-deductible contributions. We need more lawyers. We need more paralegals. We need to file more cases. We need to pursue our citizens' grand juries to indict, try, and convict these guilty politicians, federal judges, and others who are not in the best interest of the United States. And we need to support the good judges, state and federal, who are trying to do their best. But what we see today is that the federal bench is infested with Democrat leftists and others, rhino Republicans, who want to bring down the one president who's seeking to reverse the decline, reverse the near destruction of this country under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in particular. And it started before that, believe me. So now is the time. Go to freedomwatchusa.org, get my book, It Takes a Counter Revolution, Wake Up America. It's a roadmap on how we can save this country. You can get it at freedomwatchusa.org. God bless you, God bless your family, God bless America. I'll be back tomorrow with another special podcast. Until then, thank you for listening to me.